Hi again, everyone. It's Lachlan here, and we're going to continue with our look at the student view of using online meeting. We just finished talking about using the file share and the link share pods inside the online meeting room, which allow you to get access to the materials that your academic may have been loading into the room, allowing you to download them locally or to open up those links in your own browser. So file share and link share, just move that over there. If we have a look at our notes as we continue on in the session, next we're going to talk a little bit about polls. So quite often you'll find that your lecturers will want to get some feedback from the participants in the room, and so they could launch a poll. Polls take different forms. One of them, for example, might ask you to give your own feedback, for example, about an assessment. So here's a poll that's launched for the students, and it's asking which parts of the assessment for this subject are you most worried about. So at that point, you get to put in your own response. So I could be saying, obviously, the major exam and how much preparation time I'm going to need, etc. So I can put in my response there, and the academic might actually choose in those polls to broadcast anonymously. Obviously, there's no names next to any of this, what people's results are going to be. So that's called a short answer poll. It's pretty easy. You just put in your own feedback there when you see them, and that will give or provide more talking points to the academic running the session. So that's a short answer poll. They're pretty common, and it also, that information can then be exported later and might prove a talking point after the session. So we'll move that down here for a moment. There are other types of polls that you might see. So you might see others that are looking at more sort of multiple choice format. Here's one there. Why have you undertaken your current course? Oh, okay. Which one of these applies to me? You may be saying, well, I'm interested in the course itself, or I'm a forever student, building my career, whatever. You basically choose one of those. You'll see that those results are coming up along the side. How many people? Well, there's only one participant, so 100% at the moment of the participants have chosen that option. But it provides an interesting talking point and will connect with the content that's being talked about at the time. So that's a multiple choice poll, and again, quite a popular tool just to help trigger conversation points and allow those results to be captured and looked at later on. So I'll move that out of the way. What other options have we got? Well, you may very well see a tool called the whiteboard tool. So I'll move that into the room. We can have a look at what it looks like. The idea is that in a virtual classroom, there may be opportunities where all the students in the room may want to draw and contribute to that environment together. So it might be text that they can type in, response in here, or it could very well be that you're all drawing and marking things up again. You're not going to see the whiteboard tool used too often, but don't be surprised if it comes out. It's an opportunity for everyone to draw and mark up the same space. You may very well find that there are pictures that are loaded in here that you're asked to annotate and mark up, but all of it forms part of the same whiteboard option. And again, that can all be captured and saved and shared back in your I2 subject site through the discussion board, for example. So that's the whiteboard tool. Let's get rid of that one. Another feature you might see is called the question and answer pod, Q&A. The Q&A provides an opportunity outside the chat pod. Normally when your class is going on, this is going to fill up very, very quickly with student comments, teacher comments, in one giant scroll. Now, you're not going to always be able to scroll back through here, nor will your academic, to try and find what they're looking for. So if you've got specific questions that you want answered, so more important type questions, I would be using the Q&A pod to put those in. Can you tell us about assessment 2, please? So there's a question that the academic's going to have in a list set aside for them that they can address either in the live session, or they may choose to put up a more structured response after the session. So at that point, if I see some of those questions in there, the academic, which I can be as well, and put that response back in, and then you'll see a response. So in this case, after the class, or they might put it up back in your subject sign. But this will get their attention straight away. Commentary in the chat pod, for example, could quite easily be overlooked because there's going to be a lot of it. Just think about how many participants are in the class group. Trying to fish through all those comments inside the chat pod can be a bit tricky. Keep in mind as well that you're also able to configure your chat pod. If you're interested in doing that, you can change the color of the text that you're using, change the text size, etc. So it is slightly configurable if you'd like to do that. So we've looked at file sharing, link sharing, polls, using the whiteboard, and using the Q&A feature. So between all of those tools that you may see in your online meeting sessions and your own ability to get the attention of the academic using your status button, don't forget, you can raise your hand, make your own commentary, and clear it when you're finished. You have the ability to engage in the online meeting sessions as well. You don't just have to sit there and listen. There's absolutely tools and opportunities for you to get involved as well. But do feel free to talk to your academic about adding some of these tools if they're not in there, because ultimately they'll then come and ask themselves if they need help doing so. So they're available, and we're definitely here to help. So thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to our next session.